9:34 a.m., March 24th, 2015. Patrick Sondenheimer stands in front of the cockpit door. Behind it, his co-pilot sits at the controls. The Airbus A320 descends toward the French Alps at 3,400 feet per minute. Sondenheimer presses the keypad. No response. He enters the emergency access code. The timer starts. But Andreas Lubitz switches the door to lock, overriding everything. Sondenheimer realizes what's happening. His co-pilot has hijacked the plane. He's locked outside. He grabs a crowbar, smashes the door. The reinforced steel barely dents, designed to stop terrorists. It stops him instead. Inside, Lubitz sits calmly, breathing normal, not responding to radio, not responding to air traffic control, not responding to the captain beating the door with metal. At 10:41 a.m., Germanwings flight 9525 crashes into the Alps. 150 dead, 0 survivors. This wasn't terrorism. The co-pilot hijacked his own plane. But the story starts 14 days earlier when Lubitz walked out of a doctor's office with a psychiatric hospitalization recommendation. He tore it up. How does a pilot with psychosis keep flying? And why?
10:01 a.m. Central European Time, March 24th, 2015. Germanwings Flight 9525 pushes back from Barcelona El Prat Airport, 26 minutes late. Destination, Dusseldorf. 144 passengers board. Families returning from vacation. Business people. 2 opera singers, Oleg Bryak and Maria Radner. A newlywed couple. 2 babies. 16 students from Haltern am See, Germany, ages 15 to 17, returning from exchange program in Spain. 2 teachers with them, laughing, excited to get home. Cockpit crew. Captain Patrick Sondenheimer, 34, father of 2, 6,000 flight hours. First Officer Andreas Lubitz, 27, 630 flight hours. Joined Germanwings September 2013. 4 flight attendants, 6 crew, 150 people total. The plane climbs, clear skies, routine. 10:27 a.m., cruising altitude, 38,000 feet. Captain begins landing briefing. Lubitz's responses become curt. Sondenheimer notices, thinks nothing of it. 10:30 a.m., pilots confirm instructions from Marseille Air Traffic Control. Standard procedure. Sondenheimer unbuckles, leaves cockpit, bathroom break, closes door behind him. 10:31 a.m. Lubitz alone. His hands move to flight control unit. Dials autopilot altitude from 38,000 feet to 100 feet. Plane begins descending. 3,400 feet per minute. Steady, controlled, deliberate. Marseille Control Center notices. Flight 9525 shows 30,000 feet, 2,000 lower than cleared, still declining. They call. Germanwings 9525, what altitude are you cleared for? No response. They try again. Silence. 10:34 a.m., different frequency, still no response. Sondenheimer returns, presses intercom, requests access. Silence. Presses keypad, enters code. Nothing. He understands. Lubitz locked the door. 10:35 to 10:39. Marseille tries multiple times. Different frequencies. French air defense tries. Another aircraft tries. Each time, silence. Inside, Lubitz sits, breathing normally, hands steady. Altimeter descends. 25,000, 20,000, 15,000. Sondenheimer enters emergency access code. 30-second timer starts. 5 seconds until unlock. Lubitz switches control to lock, overriding emergency access. Door stays sealed. 10:39 a.m. Cockpit voice recorder captures violent blows. Metal on metal. Sondenheimer found crowbar. Smashing reinforced door. Designed after September 11th to withstand hijackers. It withstands him. He shouts, "Open the damn door!" Passengers scream. They know. Lubitz remains silent. 10,000 feet. 5,000. 3,000. 10:40 a.m. Radar contact lost. Mountainside near Prades Haute Bléone, 100 kilometers northwest of Nice. Airbus disintegrates. Debris scatters. Pieces smaller than suitcases. No road access. Emergency crews arrive by helicopter hours later. Wreckage. No survivors. 150 dead. 144 passengers. 4 attendants. Captain Sondenheimer. First Officer Lubitz. Black boxes found within a week. Severely damaged. Functional enough. Investigators play recordings. Hear everything. Altitude change. Locked door. Captain's attempts. Passengers' screams. Lubitz's silence. They realize. Not mechanical failure. Not accident. Murder. December 18th, 1987. Andreas Günther Lubitz, born in Neuburg an der Donau, Bavaria. Raised in Montabaur, Rhineland-Palatinate. Small town. Quiet childhood. His bedroom walls covered in aviation posters. Airbus, Boeing, Lufthansa. Not sports stars, not rock bands. Airplanes. He joins Luftsportklub Westerwald, an aviation sports club in Montabaur. Starts flying gliders as a child. By his teens, he's an expert glider pilot. Passion becomes obsession. Friends describe him as happy, focused. When other kids talk about video games, Lubitz talks about flight mechanics, cockpit procedures, aircraft models. The dream, commercial airline pilot, Lufthansa specifically. 2007, Lubitz finishes high school, applies to Lufthansa's pilot training program immediately. The application process is brutal. 6,530 applicants. Aptitude tests, medical exams, psychological evaluations, interviews. Only 384 selected. Lubitz is one of them. September 2008. He begins training at Lufthansa Flight Training School in Bremen, Germany. Everything he worked for, everything he dreamed about, coming true. His instructors note his dedication. Always early, always prepared. Studies flight manuals like scripture. Practices procedures until perfect. 2 months pass. October, November. Everything on track. Then something changes. Lubitz stops showing up to classes. Misses simulator sessions. Instructors notice. He looks exhausted, distracted. Not the same focused student. November 5th, 2008. Lubitz withdraws from training. Official reason? Medical. His classmates hear rumors. Burnout syndrome. Depression. Nobody knows details. German privacy laws protect medical information. November 2010. Lubitz moves to the United States. Lufthansa Airline Training Center in Goodyear, Arizona. Weather favorable for year-round flying. Clear skies, desert conditions. Perfect for building flight hours. But first, he needs a U.S. pilot's license, standard requirement for training in American airspace. Summer 2010. Lubitz sits at a computer, filling out the Federal Aviation Administration Medical Certification application. Online form, multiple pages. Standard questions about physical health, vision, hearing, medications. Then, question 18M. Have you ever in your life been diagnosed with, had, or do you presently have any mental disorders of any sort? Lubitz stares at the screen. He knows the answer. November 2008. Hospitalization. Suicidal ideation. 2 antidepressants. Months of psychiatric treatment. He checks. No. The lie is simple. Electronic. 1 click. Submit. June 14th, 2010. Lubitz visits aviation medical examiner in Arizona. Dr. Jorg Siedenberg reviews the application. Something doesn't match. Cross-references records. Discovers Lubitz had severe depression November 2008 through July 2009. The medical examiner changes the questionnaire. Same date, but this version shows yes, checked. Adds notes. Reactive depression caused by modified living conditions and decompensation subsequent to excessive demands. Treatment details listed. Cipralexone and mirtazapine, both antidepressants. January through October 2009. The FAA receives both documents. Original with no checked. Revised with yes and treatment details. Decision. Decline medical certificate. Lying on an FAA application is serious. Federal offense. Can mean jail time. Definitely means end of flying career. Thousands of applicants denied annually for less. But the FAA offers Lubitz a chance. Explain yourself. Provide documentation. Prove you're recovered. Lubitz's German psychiatrist sends a letter. Translated from German. States Lubitz treated with drugs for depression disorders. States he is completely recovered. Treatment complete. No ongoing issues. Dr. Warren Silberman, head of FAA's Aerospace Medical Certification Unit, reviews the letter. Finds it complete and legit. No reason to question accuracy. The FAA reverses its decision. Grants medical certificate. But with a warning attached. You will be prohibited from flying if your depression returns. Andreas Lubitz just lied to a federal aviation authority, got caught, and got a second chance anyway. He continues training in Arizona, practices takeoffs and landings in clear desert skies, builds flight hours. Nobody mentions the depression. Nobody asks about the lie. June 2011 to December 2013. Lubitz works as a flight attendant for Lufthansa while completing commercial pilot training. Serves passengers, checks seatbelts, demonstrates safety procedures, waiting for the final qualification. 2012, he obtains his commercial pilot's license. The paperwork is official. He's certified to fly commercial aircraft. September 2013, Germanwings hires him as first officer, low-cost subsidiary of Lufthansa, short-haul European flights, Barcelona to Dusseldorf, Paris to Berlin, Madrid to Hamburg. The dream achieved. Andreas Lubitz, 25 years old, flying Airbus A320s for a major airline. His childhood bedroom posters made real. The glider pilot from Montabaur now commands passenger jets. But two warnings haunt him. Written warnings. Official warnings. From Lufthansa. If depression returns, certificate invalid. From FAA. Prohibited from flying if depression returns. Both mean the same thing. If the darkness comes back, his career is over. No appeals. No second chances this time. Grounded permanently. Lubitz flies well. Competent. Reliable. Passes all medical checkups. Annual evaluations. Psychological screenings. Everything normal. Germanwings considers him 100% fit. No restrictions. No concerns. For 18 months, everything works. He flies dozens of routes, hundreds of flights, thousands of passengers safely transported, until 2014, when the darkness returns. 2014, Lubitz's depression returns. Not gradually, not with warning signs colleagues notice. It comes back quietly, hidden, festering behind a professional exterior. But this time, it's different, worse, accompanied by something new. He's convinced he's going blind. The symptoms start subtly. Stars in his vision, halos around lights, flashes, streaks, flying insects that aren't there. He blinks, rubs his eyes. The hallucinations persist. Panic sets in. Pilots need perfect vision. Losing sight means losing everything. He visits an ophthalmologist, then another, then neurologists, multiple times per week, desperate for answers, desperate for treatment. The doctors run tests, scans, eye exams, neurological evaluations. They find nothing. But Lubitz doesn't believe them. Visits more doctors, over 40 medical professionals in the months leading to March 2015, searching for someone who will confirm what he already believes, that he's losing his vision, that his career is ending. His family doctor makes a diagnosis: hypochondriacal disorder. The vision problems are psychosomatic, not real, created by his mind, and emergent psychosis. The doctor urges psychiatric clinic admission, immediate treatment. Lubitz refuses. He knows what admission means: grounding, investigation, career over. The warnings echo. If depression returns, certificate invalid. He can't report this, won't report this. January 2015. He returns to the psychiatrist who helped him in 2009, the one who wrote, "Completely recovered, needs help again." Psychotherapy sessions begin, weekly, then more frequently. The psychiatrist prescribes heavy antidepressants, stronger than before. Lubitz continues flying, continues working, tells nobody at Germanwings, shows up to flights, performs pre-flight checks, flies passengers across Europe, smiling, professional, hiding everything. February 2015. A doctor writes a sick note, declares Lubitz unfit to work, medical leave recommended. Lubitz tears it up, goes to work. Another doctor, another sick note, unfit to work. He destroys it, reports to duty. March 2015. More doctors, more sick notes. He hides them all, in his apartment. Slashed, torn. Evidence of unfitness scattered across his home. March 10th, 2015, 14 days before the crash. A physician diagnoses possible psychosis, recommends immediate psychiatric hospital treatment. Lubitz refuses, leaves the appointment, tears up the recommendation, throws it away. That night, he sits at his computer, searches online. Keywords: Airbus A320 cockpit door, locking mechanism. He studies the security features, the emergency access codes, the 30-second timer, the lock function that overrides everything. He researches suicide methods, not how to prevent suicide, how to commit it. 4 days before the crash. March 20th, 2015. The decision forming. March 24th, 2015. Morning. Outbound flight. Dusseldorf to Barcelona. Lubitz and Captain Sondenheimer crew the aircraft together. Flight goes smoothly. Mid-flight, Sondenheimer briefly leaves the cockpit. Routine bathroom break. Lubitz is alone. His hands move to the flight control unit. He adjusts the autopilot altitude selector. Down. Then quickly resets it. Back to normal. Testing. Rehearsing. Making sure he knows exactly how to do it. Sondenheimer returns. Notices nothing. The adjustments were too brief. They land in Barcelona. Normal landing. Professional. Turnaround. Same aircraft. Same crew. Return flight to Dusseldorf. Flight 9525. Passengers board. 144 people. Lubitz sits in the right seat. First officer position. Waiting. He visited over 40 doctors. Multiple sick notes declared him unfit to fly. A physician diagnosed psychosis. Another recommended psychiatric hospitalization. His family doctor identified emergent psychosis. Not one doctor reported him to authorities. Not one broke doctor-patient confidentiality. German privacy laws strict. Medical information protected, even when public safety at risk. The doctors may have believed Lubitz was a danger to himself, not to others. Depression rarely makes killers. Suicide, yes. Murder, extremely rare. Or maybe they were scared. Breaking confidentiality has consequences. Legal risks, ethical violations, career damage. Or maybe they trusted the system, Trusted Lubitz would self-report. Trusted the honor system that pilots operate under. But Lubitz feared losing his license more than anything. More than death. More than consequences. If he couldn't fly, what was left? 10:01 a.m. Flight 9525 takes off from Barcelona. Lubitz has made his decision. He tested the controls on the outbound flight. He knows how the door works. He knows what he's going to do. 30 minutes later, Captain Sondenheimer will leave the cockpit, and Andreas Lubitz will lock the door. The investigation begins immediately. French Bureau of Inquiry and Analysis for Civil Aviation Safety leads. German Federal Bureau of Aircraft Accident Investigation assists. Black boxes tell the story. Cockpit voice recorder captures everything. Lubitz, waiting until alone. Setting autopilot to 100 feet. Breathing normally. Staying silent. Ignoring all attempts at communication. Investigators search Lubitz's apartment in Dusseldorf. Find torn sick notes, multiple doctors, multiple dates, all declaring him unfit to work, all hidden from Germanwings. Boxes of medication, antidepressants, antipsychotics, prescriptions from different physicians, computer search history, cockpit door mechanisms, suicide methods, researched days before the crash. Medical records reveal the full picture. November 2008 hospitalization. Suicidal tendencies. Treatment for psychotic depression. 2014 relapse. Over 40 doctors visited. March 10th psychosis diagnosis. Psychiatric hospitalization recommendation ignored. French prosecutors announce findings. Andreas Lubitz deliberately caused the crash. Locked captain out. Ignored all communication. Flew plane into mountain. Murder, suicide. The victims, 150 people. 144 passengers from 18 countries. 4 flight attendants. Captain Sondenheimer. Lubitz. 16 students from Joseph Koenig Gymnasium, Haltern am See, ages 15 to 17. 2 teachers. Entire school devastated. Town of 38,000 loses 18 residents in one day. Every anniversary, church bells ring. Students lay white roses. The town remembers. 2 opera singers, Oleg Bryak and Maria Radner, acclaimed performers. Careers ended mid-flight. Families, couples, business people, babies, all gone. Captain Patrick Sondenheimer, father of 2, spent final moments desperately trying to save everyone. His wife Christina establishes a foundation in his name, helping children and young people handle grief and crisis. Memorial erected near crash site in Livernay. 2017. Solar orb installed. 5-meter memorial representing sun and 5 continents. 149 gilded aluminum plates. 1 for each victim except Lubitz. Cologne Cathedral Memorial Service. 1,400 attendees. Victims' families. Politicians. Rescue workers. Airline employees. Lubitz's parents invited. They don't attend. Regulatory response. European Aviation Safety Agency proposes changes. Psychological screening for pilots increased. Random drug testing expanded. 2-person cockpit rule. 2 authorized personnel in cockpit at all times. If pilot leaves, flight attendant enters. Multiple airlines adopt immediately. Lufthansa later phases out the rule. Lufthansa offers initial aid, up to 50,000 euros per family, separate from legal requirements. Montreal Convention sets cap, 143,000 euros per victim unless negligence proven. By 2017, Lufthansa pays 75,000 euros to every victim's family. 10,000 euros, pain and suffering, to close relatives. Families sue for more. Higher compensation. Accountability. July 2020. German court rules neither Lufthansa nor Arizona Training Center liable. Flight doctors worked for government authority. Ruling upheld on appeal. Germanwings rebranded to Eurowings. 2015. Decision made before crash. Eventually folded into parent company during COVID-19. March 24th, 2017. Second anniversary. Lubitz's father, Gunter, holds press conference. Claims Andreas fell unconscious. Door malfunctioned. Turbulence caused crash. Commissioned aviation journalist for alternative report. Victim families criticize timing, holding their own remembrances same day. The broken system. Pilots operate on honor system. Self-evaluate mental health. Fear reporting issues. Fear losing licenses. Lubitz visited over 40 doctors. Multiple sick notes. Psychosis diagnosis. Psychiatric hospital recommendation. Not one reported him. German privacy laws protect medical information. Doctors can break confidentiality if public safety threatened. None did. Maybe they believed he endangered only himself. Depression rarely causes murder. Or maybe cultural factors. Germany values privacy after Nazi and communist surveillance. Or maybe they trusted he'd self-report. Trusted the system. The system failed. 150 people died because one pilot feared losing his career more than anything. 10 years later, March 24th, 2025. Families gather at Le Vernet. 300 mourners. 10:41 a.m. Minute of silence. The time Flight 9525 crashed. Floral tributes. Remembrance. Questions still unanswered. How does a system designed to protect passengers allow this? How many pilots currently flying hide mental illness? How many doctors stay silent when they shouldn't? Germanwings Flight 9525 changed aviation regulations, but the fundamental problem remains. When careers depend on silence, who speaks?